It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Well, we are back here on Katz and Cosby, an enormous decision from the U.S. Supreme Court. And, John, the big question is...
who won? The people of the United States and the Constitution, or the migrants?
Well, let's go to the Virginia Attorney General, Jason Miyares. Everybody watching this case, talk about the victory. Explain why this is a big deal beyond even Virginia.
Well, I mean, listen, I think it's a victory for the rule of law. It's a victory for common sense. It is this really novel idea that U.S. citizens should be deciding and voting in U.S. elections. That shouldn't be controversial. And so this is Virginia since 2006 that to remove non-citizens off our voting rolls. It's a bit astonishing that something that's been administered by both Democrat and Republican governors, suddenly the Department of Justice brought this suit against Governor Youngkin. And we're grateful that we were able to get this to the Supreme Court, again, it stay on the lower court ruling. And so, like I said, it's a victory for common sense, a victory for the rule of law.
You know, explain, if you could, Mr. Attorney General, why in this case, you guys even went through these people self-identified as non-citizens. And the fact that the Biden DOJ was fighting you tooth and nail to put people who self-identified, it wasn't like gray, push them on. Explain to us how crazy the premise was that the Biden DOJ was fighting.
You're exactly right. So the background on this is that particularly under the previous Democratic governor, he expanded driving privileges for non-citizens. So people would go in the DMV to get driving privileges, and they would click a box saying they are not a U.S. citizen. That information then was transmitted on a case-by-case basis to the Department of Elections. These individuals will show up sometimes on our voting rolls, either by accident or by other reasons. And then the Department of Elections would send them a note. They would send them a letter saying, listen, you have self-identified as a non-citizen. You have ended up on our voting rolls. If this is a mistake, you have 14 days to show that you are indeed a U.S. citizen. Otherwise, we have to follow this law in Virginia to remove you off our voter rolls. And so that was the procedure. We also had a fail-safe in Virginia. You allowed same-day voting registration. So say you click the wrong box, say you ignore the mail, you could go in and vote get same-day voting registration in Virginia. So that's a critical component. But I think the great irony of all of this and the cynicism, I think, is if you all recall when Speaker Mike Johnson was pushing the SAVE Act, which would really, really put into law ensuring that only U.S. citizens are voting in U.S. elections, the biggest argument by the Biden administration, the biggest argument by folks like Chuck Schumer and others is this is not necessary because each individual state has on a state-by-state basis their own tools to ensure that only non-citizens or to ensure that non-citizens are not in fact voting. And so now you have a law on the books in Virginia. You have a fantastic leader, Governor Youngkin, who's following the law. And what does this administration do? They then sue a state that's using this very well-known tool in Virginia to ensure that non-citizens aren't voting. So I think it's this type of actions why so many people have such a distrust on what's happening in government. And so we're grateful for the win. It's been a pretty intense 20-plus days dealing with the full might and fury of the Department of Justice. But it goes to show you the right leaders have the right priorities. And this administration, the Merrick Garland Justice Department just had completely misplaced priorities today.
Mr. Attorney General John Catsimatidis, any word on what's going on with that the congressional investigation on Act Blue?
I cannot speak to that because it is ongoing. I could just tell you it is absolutely ongoing.
I understand.
We're ready to make an announcement. We'll be, making the announcement. I'm sure I'll be joining you as well to give you an update. But
I look forward to the update because this is a serious situation, and what we've been telling our audience, it's a very, very serious, with foreign money possibly coming in. Okay, thank you. I won't ask you any more on that. What else would you like to tell them?
Thank you, Chad.
What else would you like to say to the American people? We got millions of people listening right now. What would you like to say?
Go vote. Go vote. I saw a bumper sticker the other day that said "Make groceries affordable again," and I realized that's
wow.
They just really captured this election. people ask me what this election about. I tell them it's harder to live in Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's America. It's harder to get groceries. It's harder to put gas in your cars. It's harder to pay your rent. Get a home. I saw a stat the other day that just floored me. When President Trump left office in 2020, the average household income you needed in America today to be a first-time home buyer was $74,000 household income. That number today is $128,000.
Wow.
That just goes to show you it is harder to chase your dream, create those jobs, create that wealth. It's just harder to live. And so make sure your vote counts. That would be my message. Nothing moves in politics unless it's pushed. This is indeed the last best hope on earth. I don't know about you. I know you feel this way, Kath, but we all want to be able to preserve that last best hope on earth.
We want
this remarkable country we call home.
We want affordable food, and we want $2 a gallon gasoline again.
Amen.
And a safe border.
And to save the American dream.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General, and we'll catch
Great
up with
to be with you all.
Text us when you know something and when you're allowed to say.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.